Yo, what is up, guys, and welcome to another Naruto chapter review. Today we're going to be reviewing Naruto 685. Now, today's chapter, it wasn't pretty much too much. It wasn't like all the other recent chapters to where we're getting a lot of action and we're getting a lot of, part one vibes from the chapters or anything like that. So today's chapter will not be a 10 out of 10. Sad to say it because the other chapters was really going in. I really felt the other chapters. This chapter was pretty good, still in its own way, and it really was good to actually have that good ass ending that we had. Of course, having Naruto end off last chapter seeming as if he died, and having Sasuke hold Sakura in his arms this chapter. It was pretty fucking amazing. And if you guys haven't seen the chapter, of course, then you guys really need to go ahead and go get it. Kishimoto put in the work. He really made his artwork some of the best lately, and he really did just do a good job in the chapter that he released like mad early. I mean, today is the day before original releases, which are Wednesdays, and he just had it out for us. And I'm really thankful to Kishimoto for all the hard work he's putting into this series, and all the things he's done for us. But without further ado, let's get right into the chapter review now. Today's chapter, we had the explanation of how Naruto actually had the clone that was actually disintegrated. And this clone this clone actually took mad damage, and of course it didn't disappear. But with the way it was done, it was kind of confusing a little bit because of the simple fact that, of course, a clone would originally disappear. Now, I'm not sure if it did disappear in a panel later on, because I did wind up like having technical difficulties with the websites I was trying to read it at, and it was kind of hard, to actually pinpoint panels and stuff. And sometimes I was just trying to get the general theme of some panels in some pages. So I kind of just like, read it real quick before my internet or my computer, lagged or fucked up. So I was trying to go ahead and get through it, but I still got the general idea of today's chapter. And we had Obito and Sakura working together as a good team, opening dimensions up and doing other stuff. Now, some people are going to try to call this an ass pull. Some people are going to try to say there's no way Obito had disability as well. But when you think about it, and people who really still enjoy Naruto, who genuinely enjoy Naruto, or who genuinely dislike Naruto at this point, but you're still reading it because you want to see how the story ends, you have to agree with me to some degree. You have to agree with me that we still have never seen Obito with both eyes. So saying that this was an ass pull in any kind of way, it really don't. It really isn't, because of the simple fact that we've never seen these two Kamuis be put together. And with him having both of them, it kind of makes sense because he always was able to open portals in like another direction. Now, was he able to open portals to different dimensions or just a Kamui dimension? That was never stated. And of course, Obito honestly is just like a dimensional character. That's what he does. He's a dimensional character. He open dimensions, he can go into them, he can change them, he can put shit in them. And now we finally get this, which I stated before when I was arguing somebody down, or they was arguing me down. We was going tipping the scale and stuff in a form that it's an ass pull, and it's also a plot hole that Obito's eyes don't like had the bleeding effect. And I was trying to tell them, and they for the life of them could not agree with me to disagree, that the reason why Obito had like his eyes and his eyes never deteriorated was because of the fact that Obito had Senju DNA, and he also never had both eyes, meaning that he didn't really feel the effects because of the simple fact that he didn't have both eyes, meaning he never got to use both abilities. Now we know with everyone else who has ever had the bleeding effect, they had both eyes. So it's kind of like, it can kind of be probable to actually think that maybe a character maybe a Uchiha or someone with eyes, period, without both eyes can basically have a longer running time period. Now, this doesn't explain why Kakashi didn't have had the bleeding effect, right? Wrong, because Kakashi didn't have Senju DNA. And that's what I was trying to tell them. That DNA, plus with it being on that side of his body, it actually preserved his body and the Sharingan. And it actually kept it on lock. But with him having the other eye, it's like, the Senju DNA can no longer withstand it. And it's like, it can no longer support it. This is also followed by the fact that Obito's body is generally an Edo Tensei because of the simple fact that Obito had passed on or he probably went to the limbo state that Kakashi was probably in when he died, when he met his father in the pain arc. And he was somewhere in between there, or he was probably just asleep or something like that. We don't know. He was probably in a coma or something. I can put him like that because he did survive for a long time without a heart. And I mean, he did do the Ren Tensei, which was gonna lead him to his death. But when you think about it, Zetsu connected to him. He had to use all his time being connected to him, and it's like basically if Zetsu was giving him life, having all that extra time on him when he was literally supposed to get on him, take the Renegon, and move his ass the hell out of there and get to Madara as fast as he can before anyone could ever detect him. But seeing as Minato and Kakashi detected him, it was like he had to stay there for a pretty much longer period. And it was like, it explains somehow that to a degree that Obito was still alive after he used the Ren Tensei. A lot of people don't think about it that way, but I think about it that way. It's because he had to spend all that extra time, and then this is also followed by when they went into the Kamui dimension, all that time they spent in there. He was consistently giving him life energy, because if he died, I'm pretty sure that probably would have had some ill effect on the Renegon, meaning Black Zetsu could not leave his body and had to consistently give him life energy, life energy, life energy. Especially with him being connected to Kaguya now, we know that he was probably giving him some pretty deep ass energy. We're talking Sage Mode type energy or some shit like that. But going back to the chapter now, we do have the other dimensions being shown, and there's an acid dimension, which is kind of weird, and I'm wondering if we're gonna go there, because if we do, we saw with Sakura to where like the acid is not like normal acid. It doesn't act as quickly, but it does kind of act like the Amaterasu as well. Whatever, like when you have clothes, if you have clothes on, and you take those clothes off, you generally have to get off like everything that has been touched by the acid. And with real acid, it's like it'll just burn through or eat up whatever it touches like mad quickly. Like you sometimes can't even react to it, as shown in like movies and in other things and stuff, and like showings and stuff. If you ever watch science videos, I used to be like a mad science guy when I was in school. But yeah, so when you watch it, it's like as it acts real quickly. And with Sakurai, it was like she was able to take her clothes off and take some of her other clothes off. By the way, I must say, when she was taking her clothes off, I was kind of like, I wonder how far she was going with this. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, she had took her clothes off, and it was like, basically, is this acid dimension gonna be like an Amaterasu dimension, to where Kaguya can literally take the acid and then like make it into little droplets and then just throw that shit at him? Because we already seen that she can affect like the dimensions easily. Like, it takes some chakra, but to her and her chakra reserves, it's easy. It's easy as hell for her to do it. I mean, she can do it like for a whole battle period. She was fighting Naruto doing it. And I really hope that we actually go there, because I want to see how this world actually works, and is there any land there? Because when the acid came through, like, that's all you saw. And I'm pretty sure Kishimoto did not just show us that dimension just to show it to us. And with Sasuke coming back into the fray now, he was walking along the desert dimension, and we found out that he actually can warp through dimensions, which is pretty good for his ability, of course, because they are going to need it against Kaguya. He can warp through dimensions, but it has a short distance. Meaning, for him to actually be able to teleport through the dimensions, there need to already be a loophole in place, I'm guessing. Like, because when Obito had made the loophole via Kamui, Sasuke ran towards it as quick as he could, and then he was able to penetrate through the dimensional portal with his eyes. So I'm not sure if like he can do this on a regular basis, like, but the dimensions have to be shortly across from each other. Because if you look at dimensions and all of that good stuff, once again going into science, dimensions are believed to sit like, basically, if you have a sheet of paper, have two sheets of paper, and then let's say you have a ball in between the two sheets of paper. In the mid center of both papers, both aligned correctly, that ball is like the loophole between the two dimensions. And that dimension is like, can he actually, that's what I'm saying, can he actually go through that ball? Like, can he actually make it through the ball if the dimension is close enough, because of the fact that his Renegon effect doesn't really go too far. Now, we do have a lot of other things coming as well, to where we're gonna see a lot more coming. I mean, Naruto and Sasuke are about to be reunited, and I'm thinking that this is gonna be when Obito dies. Now, why do I say this? Is because Obito was using a lot of chakra. He already stated he doesn't have enough chakra to begin with. Sakura had to help him just to even get open one dimension, and trying to get open another dimension was just like depriving her of her own chakra. Now, granted, Obito is an Uchiha, meaning he has more reserves because of the fact he's connected to the lineage of Indra. So, which is in fact the lineage of from the say the six paths, Kaguya, and all of that good stuff. So he has more reserves. It would make more sense for him to have more reserves, and he actually had Naruto's clone actually give him some power. So it kind of makes sense for him to have, at least a little bit more reserves than Sakura. But when they finally opened the dimension, Obito was basically like about to fall out. And the same thing was happening with Sakura, but like Obito had took it like mad harder. I'm talking about throwing up blood and all of that good stuff, regurgitating his blood and stuff, and basically just not even being able to hold open this dimension for Sasuke to run like less than like a football field worth of distance into the dimension and get in safely. So I'm really wondering if Obito is about to die once we return back to Kaguya. Maybe he will finally say his goodbyes. Maybe he will give both of his eyes to Kakashi, making Kakashi damn sure useful in this fight against Kaguya. It will make a lot more sense because with Kaguya, and you know what? As a matter of fact, speaking of that, this could actually give us the room for Kishimoto to actually finally show off Kakashi's face. And why do I say that? Is because when Obito gives him them two eyes, if he winds up dying against Kaguya or later on, um, let's say, for instance, the reliving events thing that happens in Naruto sometimes, to where something that happened in the past to either another character or the same character, it'll happen again, such as with Haku and the whole Zabuza thing. Of course, that was just symbolism, but it was the same way Haku originally died at the beginning of the series. And with that, I'm wondering if we're gonna see Kakashi actually get cut on his other eye with a bone or something like that, using the Kaguya dance from Kimimaru and whatnot. So with that, I'm hoping that we actually get to see Kakashi's face, because Kakashi really is a mysterious character with the mask. I mean, of course he has a face, but I want to see what's under the face. I want to see if like there was a tattoo he got, like just trying to remember a girl or something like that, or maybe he has a tattoo for Obito and Ren, like O.R. I mean, it's something. It should have some significance to why Kakashi always wear that mask. So I'm really hoping that we actually get to see that. And to end this chapter review off, I just wanted to say that I'm gonna rate this chapter somewhere around a 6.5 to a 7. Of course, like I said, a lot of things didn't happen in this chapter, but we did get some Sakura love in there for those fans that like that pairing and all of that good stuff, and those fans who hate that pairing, Kishimoto just fucking with us as fans, and it was pretty good to actually see that. So I'm pretty happy that we actually got to see that a little bit, because I'm more so leaning towards, why isn't Hinata with Naruto already? All of these things she's basically done for Naruto as a character, and how she helped him find his own ninja way and all of that good stuff. It just seemed like they're more fitting compared to, Sakura, who's just generally with him, who generally just beat his ass for no reason, who generally just abuses the character, abuse him emotionally and physically, and just basically is the person who basically set him on his path of being, like brain damaged, I could say. Well, he's not brain damaged, but having this like attachment to Sasuke, of course, to where he's like, yo, Sasuke, he'll go after him no matter what, because he has to do this for himself as well. And it's just, it doesn't make a good pairing whatsoever. It's not like Minato and Kushina at all, to where Kushina, like Minato actually saved Kushina, which made him made her actually fall in love with Minato. And Minato actually had the same feelings, and they actually built their way up as characters. Of course, you can they built their way up because they started off as children, so they built their way up, probably going on missions together or something like that, winding up in the same team or something like that. And I'm really hoping we get to see that as well now that I'm thinking about it. But thank you guys for tuning in to this chapter review. If you like this review, go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button for more reviews coming, and there will be other videos related to Naruto in the future. So thank you guys for tuning in to this video once again, and peace the heck out.